It's that time again. It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about.
Hey, hey, hey!
Ho, ho, ho!
We're here again. It's Berkey and Badger and our special guest from Horrible Games, Alessandro Pra.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Good evening, good day, good morning, guten tag, goodbye, ciao, au revoir. Thanks for watching. That went quick. How are you, my good friend, Mr. Kevin Stonesmeyer?
Stonesmeyer, that's a good name for it. Absolutely. The reason why it's Kevin Burkhard Stonesmeyer is because I've been laying stone. I've been laying a rock fireplace. I come home and tell my wife that I got stoned today.
Don't say that to your competition.
No, that doesn't work quite as well there. But I just finished this beautiful fireplace, and that was a lot of fun. Been crazy busy because we're right in the middle of doing all of our production with Game Toppers. And super excited. We are looking to have some game tables at Dice Tower Con. And so I'm really crazy pumped about all that. Had a fantastic business meeting this morning. You're going to hear a lot more about that. But then we did something else really cool.
No.
Yeah, oh yeah. You ready for it? Wait for it.
Go on.
This last weekend, we filmed our episode from Board Game Theater, Spoils of War.
Ooh.
We really did up a set. It was a lot of fun. If you go to our Facebook page at Berkey and Badger or Board Game Theater, you'll see some of the pictures. And we had special guest Lance Meister, the Undead Viking. He lives about 50 miles from us, and he's a good friend of mine. He came down and he filmed with us. And this is going to be crazy fun editing in the post-production because this was a lot of fun. We had some really brilliant moments, I think. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Sounds it. Wow. Undead Vikings.
The Undead Vikings.
And Spoils of War. Ooh, what a combination. What a combination. Lucky you got to play. I haven't had much chance to play at the moment. I'm running around like a blue-ass chicken. Yeah.
I haven't seen one of those before.
Nor have I, but you have now. Here I am. Yeah, lots of things going on at the moment, lots of personal things and lots of board game related things. There's lots of Kickstarters coming up and lots of Kickstarters coming out. And luckily I've been involved in some of those. And that's been taking up a bit of my time, as well as player number 4 who wanted to come out last week. We had to go to the hospital to say, no, you're not coming out yet. You've got another 2 months in there yet. So player 4, yeah, player 4 has been a bit aggressive, wants to get to the table, wants to play some games.
Is your wife on bed rest now then or anything? She's
on bed rest, yeah. So I have to do everything as well as do everything. So wow. Yes. But she's able to cook sometimes, and she's able to do a few bits and pieces around the house. But I have to do the majority of it, which is taxing. So not a lot of board gaming going on. But this weekend, I will be out. I'll be in Reims. There's a festival there. And Reims is about 30 minutes away from me. So I should be able to catch up with some friends and play some games. That'll be great.
Wow, cool. Hey, I got to talk about a couple quick things that I thought were I'm going to just do it here so we get it out of the way. But I got something in the mail.
Oh,
and this is like really cool. Number 1 item in the mail. Many of you guys know that I was the king on the game Royals. You know, you remember the king costume. I just got my meeples. Look at this.
Wow.
I've been meeplified.
You have been meeplified.
These came from Meeple Source. on their Kickstarter, and I didn't know about it. I was at Origins last year as the king, and Cynthia Landon from Meeple Source come up to me and she says, "Can I take some pictures?" She starts taking pictures of the costume. Well, what I didn't know is that Tony Galati and Brian Pope from Arcane Wonders had commissioned them to make these special king meeples for the game as like a first player marker. And so she goes, "You realize you're only one of the 4 people that have ever been meepleized?"
Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive.
I thought it was really cool. I was like, wow, this is like, where else in the world do you get to do cool, fun stuff like this, right?
Yeah, true. True. I got something in the post as well the other day. There's a letter.
Okay, tell me what you got. Hey, I think we got a new segment coming up, Barry. What did we get in the post?
Yeah, I've got this really strange letter which has got like blacked out writing on it. It came in this envelope, marked alone.
I think I know that.
You know that? Can you tell me?
I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah. Can you tell me what this is then, Alessandro?
That is a limited print just for you because you are so nice.
Oh.
As long as other 200 people in the world, so that's very limited.
Yes, I am number 184.
Yes, it was random assigned, so don't feel bad about not being number 1. Oh.
So I like being 184. Yes.
Yeah, it's a unique number. There's no other number that is 184.
Yeah, that's right. I never
Makes
thought
sense,
about it like that. Yeah, this guy's really smart. I can tell.
And the letter, I don't know if you noticed that the letter hides a hidden enigma.
Yeah, I tried deciphering and I can't figure it out. So
I guess you will, because I won't spoil the answer to the public, to our audience.
Yeah.
But if you check that carefully, you will find a way to access secret information about the game alone that we are going to release soon on Kickstarter. Yes.
We're going to have a lot of fun talking to Alejandro about his new project called Alone from Horrible Games. I'm super excited about talking to him. This is the first time I've had the opportunity to meet you, Alejandro, but I can already tell we're birds of a feather and share some similarities.
Okay. Should we move into, before we go into that, should we go into our things that make us go, and then
can I do one more thing?
No.
I just got to give a shout out. I know we're going to try to go quick here, but I got something else in the post.
No way.
Yes way. I think this should be another episode. This should be a new segment, Barry. We can do this. What do you guys think in the chat? Kabuki Kids, should we do a segment? What shall we do? What about is in the post? Or how about you, Rick? Then just mail me stuff all the time.
Yeah.
To get on the show. Okay, this is what happened. My good friend Ron Shady. I met Ron at Dice Tower Con last year, and he's got this wonderful family. His 2 young children. They're some of they're just beautiful, well-behaved young kids. And they came up. They had been watching Board Game Theater. And so they recognized me, and they were all kind of awestruck. And I'm like, there's no reason to be awestruck by me. But these kids were, you know, and they were so respectful and like, they wanted to shake my hand. And so I just sat down and I kind of got down on their level and started talking with them and just hanging out and having fun. And Ron and his wife, they're just beaming. And anyway, we played Blood Rage and we had this great time. Well, recently, we did our episode on Cry Havoc from Portal Games, and Ron offered to actually paint my minis for me.
No.
Well, I ended up working a little trade with him, gave him a couple games, and I definitely got the better end of this thing, but he painted all of my minis from Cry Havoc, and I just got them in the post. Look at this bad boy. Ooh. Can you see that? They're unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah, audio podcast listeners are not going to be able to see these pictures. Well, you might have to like take pictures of them, and we'll put them up on our Board Game Geek Guild site.
Let's do that.
2248. Yes.
Look at the troglodytes and the little human guys. I mean, and he did such a fantastic job. But the Pierre de Resistance,
is the blur effect around them. That's what I like.
About the Sheriff of Nottingham. Okay, look at this.
Whoa.
A Sheriff of Nottingham mini. It's gorgeous.
Unbelievable.
I want a Berkey in my house.
Can you believe this? This is crazy. And I don't think you can even see the detail as nice as this. It's unbelievable. Ron, I just wanted to say thank you so much for most of all your friendship, but this was just fantastic, way over the top. And thank you so much. And you're the man.
Yeah, everyone in the chat's been saying, let's do a mailbag segment.
Mailbag.
Yeah,
mailbag.
Yeah, not that I get much mail. It's all in French, and I don't understand it. It's got numbers next to an E with some lines through it.
Like your electric bill.
Yeah, like my electric bill.
All right, well let's get on with the show, and let's go right into our segment, Things That Make You Go,
Things that make go, Board game news. Berkey and Badger reflect on the current events that are happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad. But there are all things that make us go,
It's a graphic. Oh well. Sorry, I should have faded it by then. I'm falling asleep.
Things that make us go, Barry, what has been making you go,
I don't know. I'm gonna have to say something about Dark Souls, which is a Kickstarter game which has recently come out, and it's a dungeon crawling style type of game which ties into the theme of our show. And that recently is being delivered to backers, and it's recently been reviewed by a lot of reviewers, apart from me. And so I'm really angry, and that made me go, no. I know I've watched a lot of the reviews, and I must say that I am impressed with some of them, and I'm not impressed with others. I'm still bedazzled why people watch someone opening a box of a game when they can watch a review of a game and learn how to play it, as well as look what's inside of it, instead of just looking at what's coming out of the box. And that made me go, And also, somebody gave a review which I just think is just too personal and not really a review, and that made me go, I'm not naming names, but it just annoyed me that, someone can be a reviewer but not really be a reviewer, but just someone that says, well, I didn't like this game because it didn't do this for me and it didn't do that for me. That for me is not my idea of a reviewer. And
that's more just a personal opinion, and that made you fâché?
Yeah, especially when it's someone quite reputable as well, and I don't know, it just kind of like swung my point of view a little bit. So I'm not going to go too much into it, but that made me go and
Fâché, Barry. Fâché, Barry.
Yes.
I'm saying that right in French, aren't I? Fâché.
Vache. I don't know. I don't know if you're saying vache, which is cow.
No. Fâché.
Or fâché, which means to go to poo.
No. No, fâché means angry.
Colère is angry.
What is mad?
Mad is colère as well. I don't know, but maybe you're right. I'll have to listen back to the audio.
Well, you're the one that lives in France. I don't know anything. What are you?
No, but you've got a particular tongue, you know. It's like,
Shay.
yes, when English people speak French, they say it in this particular way, and then when Americans speak French, they say it in a particular way, and when the Scottish talking French, nobody understands what they're saying.
Giving her all I got, Scotty.
Yeah. So yeah, not even the French can understand the Scottish. So
freedom.
You'll never take my freedom. Ali.
Yeah, Alejandro, you're going to get used to us. This goes off the rails all the time, buddy.
But it's funny to watch and to hear.
Well, we're glad that we're entertaining.
Whatever you do, don't insult the Italians.
No. You know, when would I ever do such a disrespectful thing? You know?
I knew somebody was going to do that.
You come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding. Do you say Godfather? No.
Are you aware that is a movie and not the reality?
Oh, it's not a reality?
No.
What are you talking about? Are you from Sicily?
No, I'm from Milan.
Milan.
But my mom is from Rome and my father's family is from Liguria, which is an unknown region for you, I think. But it's northwest, and it's one of the places where you go to the sea in Italy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
One of the many places, actually, because we have a lot of sea surrounding us.
My dad has some cousins that live in Milan, so and I have been there 20, 30 years ago. So
I would love to go to Rome, love to go to Italy.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with Italy. Wherever you go, you find something beautiful. That's one of the best things about our country. Then you have to deal with Italians, which is one of the bad things about our country. But no one can be perfect.
One of my vivid memories of being in Milan is we went out on a Sunday morning. Of course, the continental breakfast. It was like the pan au chocolat is the brioche with the chocolate in it.
Yes.
But we went out shopping one day. We went to this sweet shop. There was a sweet shop on the corner. It sold all kinds of sweets, and you can get a scoop and you put it in your bag.
Gelato.
Yeah. And there were these things that looked like Smarties. Smarties.
Yes.
We bought a whole bag of them. We got home and we tasted them, and the chocolate was not Smartie chocolate.
No.
So it was. I think it was a dark chocolate. But I kind of like, as a kid, you're kind of like, oh, they're not Smarties, so don't want them.
You're disappointed.
Yeah, my dad had to eat the whole bag himself. So
I want to get a bag of cannolis.
No.
Yeah, that's not good for your health, but it's good for the spirit.
Yeah. Well, I need some for my spirit.
Yeah.
So what's been making you go murky?
Well, there's two things. The first thing that was making me go home is my good friend Ralph Anderson, who is the co-developer and helped with the production of one of my favorite two-player games, Baseball Highlights 2045. Ralph helped with the production of that. I've gotten to know Ralph a little bit, but he designed a 3-player game called Chimera. It's a trick taping game that's very similar to Teach You, but it has some really cool elements to it. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite 3-player type of games. I haven't been able to play it a lot, but I love it. He just started a Kickstarter going through Eagle Griffin Games, where he's made some derivative of the game that it actually will play up to 5 players.
Ooh.
Unbelievable. Much kudos to Ralph on his design. It's a great game. I found it kind of interesting, and what made me go, is that here we took this game that you could only play for 3 players, but now it's going to be able to play 3 to 5 with this kind of new deck and all that. It's very affordable, very accessible. It takes a little bit to learn the sets that you're trick taking, and it kind of has that Teach You elevated stepping type of trick taping mechanism, but it's fantastic. So that's one thing that was making me go, Did you have another one that you wanted to talk about, Barry?
Box openings.
Oh.
Die!
I love your box openings.
I know, because I take the mic out of people when they do box opening videos. Actually, I did a review. I've been filming today, and I went to show the contents inside the box, and I couldn't open the box. So I left it in the video. So you'll see a box opening where I can't open a box.
Lots of box spots there, right?
Yes, box spots
there.
everywhere. Sorry. Anyway, sorry. Move on.
The other thing that just kind of sparked my imagination in the news was the fact that Steve Jackson Games, you know, they're noted for Munchkin. Steve Jackson Games picked up the game Port Royal, which is an Alexander Pfister design. We both know that Alexander Pfister has just been a fantastic designer. He did All My Goods. He did Mombasa. He just recently did a Great Western Trail.
Oh, yeah.
And Port Royal is a trick-taking, push your luck type of game. It's been unavailable in the United States. Well, you know, Steve Jackson, they recently announced their financials and different things, talked about the mistakes. They were very candid about some of the things that they wanted to improve upon. And they've been kind of hit, you know, Ogre was like the 27th most popular game of their list, which was surprising to me. But the point I'm trying to make about Port Royal is seems that they may be moving back into the gamer market with some noted designers and game design, and not just relying on Munchkin.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think this is a very impressive move on their part.
It is a step out of the norm for them, definitely. They do small games, fun party games, and then they had Ogre, but
right.
Yeah, this is a step out of the norm. They're doing it's a Euro game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of a push your luck card game, but yeah, Kabuki Kid says it's pretty wild that Steve Jackson Games is doing that, and I know that the game has a lot of respect, and people in the States are really clamoring to get it. So I think it was a really good move.
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah, Alejandro is in the chat also.
Yes, I was just commenting a few things. Sorry.
So no, I'm going to quote him. Even though he's on the screen, I'm going to quote him. He says, well, now that I think of it, Minnesota is not a warm place either. And he's absolutely right, because it is almost May and we got snow this morning.
Yeah. Lance put a picture on Facebook this morning and I thought, wow, cool.
Also, Italy has gone colder suddenly for being in almost May.
Yeah,
it was hotter than, say, I don't know what to compare this to, but it was almost spring 1 month ago, and now suddenly it's autumn, if not winter. It's raining, it's cold.
That's funny. It didn't come past us. Last week it was cold. We had like the mornings there was a bit of frost, but it seems to have picked up again. That was just 1 week of frost, so luckily my garden's intact. My strawberries are starting to flower, and getting excited.
Yeah, everything's starting to green up here, and we're just starting to get leaves on the trees, but this last week has been pretty cold, and it looks like we have another week before we get back up into the 60-degree level.
Yeah.
And that translates to what in a human readable temperature? Sorry for that.
You have to talk to smarter people than me to do that, you know.
Well, yeah.
You can ask Google. Google knows everything.
Yes, I will probably do that. You don't need to know anything anymore if you have an internet connection.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Why studying? Why school?
Yes. How do we play this game? Rodney, how do we play this game?
I always just say, Barry, how do I play this game?
Yeah.
But who's Rodney anyway, Barry? I always go to Board Games Everybody Should. What
you do. You do?
Oh, yeah.
That's so sweet of you. Oh.
Duh.
Okay.
Hey, let's go on to our next segment. But do you want to introduce and tell a little bit more about our guest there, Barry?
Oh, yeah. Get rid of this. Yes. Joining us live. If you're not already watching this live, yeah. Joining us live, we have Now, I've never said your name correctly, I don't think. Is it Alessandro?
Yes,
Pra.
Alessandro.
Oh, it's not Alejandro?
No, but don't worry. We know it's
Alessandro.
Alessandro. Yeah, Alejandro. It's the Spanish version of that same name.
Alessandro.
It's like in France, Kevin is the French version of Kevin.
Kevin.
I like Kevin.
Yeah,
you can call me
Kevin.
Kevin from now on.
Yeah, yeah. But in England, we call
my
it
wife.
Kev.
She will call me Kevin. Oh, Kevin.
So we have Alessandro from Horrible Games with us. He has pinched. No, he hasn't pinched. He's a very interesting guy. I've met him several times at Essen. And we've had good chats and talked about the best games at the shows and everything. But he's here with us now to talk about Horrible Games. Where did Horrible Games come from?
Well,
I just want to know why you called it Horrible Games.
Yes.
The main reason is that if we call that, we decide to call ourselves like that because if you think one of our games is bad, you cannot complain because it's written on the box. we told you in advance it's an horrible game, so you cannot complain. No, and it is just one of the many ironic things that we like to do also in our games and our rule books. So we don't like to take ourselves too seriously, and we try to make fun of everything, starting from the name of the company.
Good idea.
And as a company, we were founded in 2013, so not that much time ago. But we were previously working with Cranio Creations, which is another Italian publisher. The founder of Horrible Games, Lorenzo Silva, was also a founder of that other company. And when he decided to leave, he founded Horrible Games, and we have been working together since then.
Yeah.
So are you a part owner of the company?
No,
company,
I'm not.
Alessandro?
No, I'm not. I've been working with Cranio before and now Horrible, but I am not. I don't own any shares of the company.
What is your role at the company at Horrible Games?
Well, until last year I was the only other employee, so basically everything. but now there's four of us in total, counting Lorenzo in this, and we are still very small, so everybody's doing everything. We just share what needs to be done. What is the only thing that I only do is writing the rule books, I think, and in general I am the copywriter of everything, so I deal with writing text, rule books, promo stuff and the like.
Graphic arts?
Then no, I follow the artists that do that for us. We all do that. We have projects that each one of us is following, so each one of us deals with a lot of aspects of a production. But no, I am no graphic artist. I cannot even draw a smiley face without.
We'll see about that in our game show.
You will.
We'll see how horrible of a game drawer you are. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely saw that. That is Lorenzo.
Yeah, with some horrible figures.
Yes, those are some of the first resin copies of the Alone miniatures, because I don't know, maybe it's interesting. I don't know if all of our listeners, our audience knows how you produce a miniature, and it's quite interesting.
Yeah,
there are two ways you can work. You can have a sculptor realize a real sculpture, so a physical small statue, let's say. I don't know if that's the most accurate English word, but yeah. Okay, bear with me. That's good. And then from that, you create a resin copy, which is what you could see in that photo. Mm-hmm. From that, the factory will create the molds the metal molds where the actual plastic that will make the final miniature will be injected inside, and you create the miniature from that. So you don't ruin the original sculpture, which is the masterpiece that you have to safeguard because it's very precious. Because if that is ruined, you cannot replicate the miniature anymore.
Yeah.
The other way is to have a digital sculpture, which is different, but the final result, if the digital sculpture is good, is the same. But it was new also for us because Alone it's the first game we do with miniatures.
Yeah, because all your previous games have let's just roll them off. You've had comics, you've had steampunk, you've had dungeon fighter, potion explosion, and just most recently raise your goblets.
Yes, exactly.
Potion explosion.
Yeah, many horrible games.
Clash of Rage.
These are not horrible games. These are awesome. These are family favorite games. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We are going to change the meaning of the horrible word in the English dictionary.
Good.
And that
is good, of course.
Yeah. So can you tell us a bit about the up-and-coming game Alone?
Yes, Alone is a dungeon crawler game, as I think you just need to look at the cover to know.
Mm-hmm.
And the twist is that usually it's, for starters, it's an asymmetric cooperative dungeon crawler. So there is two teams fighting each other. The thing is that usually you have one dungeon master, an evil dungeon master that controls everything and has to prevent the heroes from winning. Mm-hmm. In our game, it's the opposite. We have one single hero that has to fight against up to 3 evil masterminds. They all see the complete environment. They have cards that they can use to spawn creatures, place traps, and a lot of other stuff. The complete map is hidden behind the screen, and the hero can, on his side of the table, can only see there are bigger cardboard tiles that replicate the rooms that the map is composed of. And he can only see the room he is in and immediate nearby sectors. He has to explore the map, and while he explores, the evil players will place the what actually is on the map, and they have the complete map behind the screen to check what's going on. The hero has several tools with which he can gather clues about the distance from the rooms he has to reach, or whenever the evil players place something on the hidden map, they communicate to him radar signals that he intercepts, and knowing those, the hero can try to deduce the position of monsters and traps. So it's a game of deduction for the hero, and it's a game of plotting scheme. What's the pronunciation of that? Scheming. Yes. Yeah. For the evil players, and we think it's quite new and different, which is the only thing this game has in common with our previous games, because we always made quite lighthearted and funny games. This is the first really serious and darkish games we released.
Yeah, so it sounds like a real gamer's game instead of a family game or a party game.
Yes, it definitely is, and this may seem weird from us, because probably not a lot of people was expecting such a game like that from us, but the real thing that is common among all our games is that we always try to make something different. We may have made puzzle games like Potion Explosion, kind of management games like Steampunk, even if it's weird, stupid dungeon crawlers like Dungeon Fighters. So we always made games in established genres. We never invented a completely new thing out of the box, but we always try to make that thing, but with a twist that makes it unique.
Yeah, And this
we
sounds
hope,
very unique.
Oh,
It
this
sounds like
really-
it's like it sounds like you're playing like Dead Space with one hero who's got to survive.
That is one of
escaping the spaceship.
that is one of the sources of influence for the main designer of this game, which is it's Andrea Crespi, which is one of the designers of Ocean Explosion 2.
Yeah,
but he's actually a super space geek. He has designed Ocean Explosion, but apart from that, a game called 1969. I don't know if you can guess where this is going. And another game which is called Apollo 13. And he is also developing another game which is called Interstellar. So you can see that out of 4 games I've mentioned, 4 were space games. So he's really into space stuff.
All right.
And this alone was his idea first. He also owns a shop where he sells board games and video games. So he's also a geek of those things too. And that space was definitely one of the sources of influence, as is for movies like, say, Alien. The first Alien, I think, is one of the greatest influences on the game. One single person, not really a soldier, because Ellen Ripley in Alien is not a fighter in the beginning. She's just a really tough woman, but not a soldier per se.
Yeah.
And she has to face this incredible, dangerous stuff alone. And this is that is the kind of feeling that we are trying to replicate with our game.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds really innovative. I like that approach. You know, it's definitely a different way of looking at it. I think we should probably move right into our show. What do you think, Barry?
We should do indeed. Now, let me just get the music. And graphic.
What game is behind the door?
Music
Is behind the door. In this segment, will we put in our special guest to the test by asking them 3 questions. Questions like, what was the last game that they purchased? What is the game they're most excited about getting? And what is their favorite game right now? Berkey and Badger will have to figure out what these answers are by asking questions in particular styles. Let's find out if Berkey and Badger can get 3 out of 3 or fall flat on the floor like a floundering thingy.
What game is behind the door? And we have 3 parts to our game show. Barry, explain our game show.
Okay, there are 3 parts to our game show.
Really good game explanation.
We're going to be asking 3 questions, and Alessandro is going to answer the questions, but in a game show style. We're going to start with question 1, which is, what is the last game that he purchased? And what Berkey and I are going to do is we're going to be asking 5 questions each, and Alessandro is going to respond with either a yes or a no, or possibly a yes no or a no yes, because sometimes a question will fall between the cracks. And after we've both asked a question each, Alessandro is going to show us a component from the game to give us a bit of a clue, because we don't like losing. We always lose on this question. So hopefully these clues will help us out. So, do you want to...
I'm ready.
You're ready, are you? Okay, let's fire up. Is everybody online ready as well?
You guys ready?
Can
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yes, she's ready. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
she's definitely ready.
Question number 1.
Jesse, Rick, come on, baby. You can win it for us.
Okay, is this game a recent release from the past 2 years?
Wait.
That's all right. I can edit
Wait
this
a
out.
second. I'm just writing random things on my keyboard, but it's not related to the question. Because
You're preparing your Kickstarter while you're on the show, aren't you?
Yes, of course. I definitely know the answer to your question, but I'm not checking it on the internet right now. No, it's more complicated than what you think, this question. I will give you a free clue. Take that.
Oh.
Wait just a small second. Okay, sorry. Okay, repeat the question.
Okay, is this game a recent release from the past 2 years? So
No.
No, so it was before 2015.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm going to go with my standard question. Is it in a Ticket to Ride size box?
No.
Ooh. Okay. And it's time to see the first clue.
I am ready.
Okay.
And
good thought, Kabuki Kid.
Is.
Ooh,
Can you see that?
Yes, it's a dice, a white dice with positive and negative symbols on some of the faces, and it has a blank face as well.
Yes.
And blank.
Interesting. Have you got any guesses?
Nope, let's go on.
Yeah, let's move on. Question. Next question.
Tricky.
Is this game a mathematical game?
No.
Okay.
No. There are I give you free clues because I think it's funny. There are numbers involved, but it's not a mathematical game.
Okay.
Okay. Wow, plus and minus die. Is this mainly a Euro style game?
No, definitely no. I think.
Okay, so it's definitely roll and move then. Okay, let's have component number 2.
Yes, maybe this is easier. I don't know.
Let's have a look.
Can you see this?
It's a green star-shaped cardboard chip that says Destiny that's rotating in his fingers.
Yes, that is the fundamental thing. The rotation is the important thing.
Very important. Yes, very important. Destiny, you don't know your destiny.
Lorraine, you are my density.
You're my density, Lorraine.
Oh dear.
Good one, Barry. Wow.
McFly. Yeah, I'm feeling like McFly at the moment. I got no idea.
Yeah, I'm stuck. We better go on.
Yeah, we better go on.
I knew I would be confusing you. I just knew it.
Okay.
They must not get very many games over in Italy.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Barry.
Scratching my head a bit, and I'm gonna have to edit all this out in the audio podcast. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Does this game? Oh dear. Destiny. Is this game a science? Does it have a science fiction theme?
No, absolutely not.
Ooh, absolutely not. No, absolutely. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So you were totally against the idea of Alone being in space. You wanted it to be in a castle with dungeons.
No, it's completely unrelated.
Okay.
I've looked at the chat accidentally, and I meant to minimize that.
Stop doing that.
Now I have to. I don't know for sure anyway what they're saying. So, is it a story-driven game?
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, I think with that question, if I were to take the clues that I also have received from the chat, which would be cheating, but I'm being honest about my cheating.
Can I just say, because I haven't looked at the chat, I'm thinking.
Okay, don't look at the chat.
Not Stonemaier again. Stronghold Games one. No, that's the sci-fi ones. Forget it. Roll on.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of Euphoria.
No.
No.
Stronghold, not Stonemaier. Sorry.
Oh, Stronghold.
The alien one where you have the
Space-
dice and you roll it, and yeah.
Space Cadets or
No,
Dice Roll? No.
the one where someone's an alien, so to speak. They're an alien, and the other players have got to figure out who the alien is. I can't remember what the game is, but it's not that one. It's not that
No,
one.
it's
You
not.
said it's not sci-fi.
No, it's not that one at all.
No.
Okay, we get another token clue.
Yes. It's not a token.
It's not a token.
Card.
It is not a token.
Ooh.
Can you see it?
Yes, it looks like a genie, a
It
fire
is not
genie
Effort.
with 3 statistics.
And I give you another free. I give you the
clue.
back.
It's an
Encounter
encounter.
card.
I think I know what this is. This is like Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Yes.
That's what the chat said. Well done.
And you didn't look the chat, Barry.
No, I didn't.
Can you grant me?
Yeah, do you want to check? If I do a screen share right now,
I'm joking.
you will see.
Minimize it first. Minimize it first and then do it.
I have the script there. Yeah, see? I don't have the chat. The chat is there.
But
Okay, I'm going to minimize my chat here.
Yes.
It was going to be clear in the next one, I think, because I was going to show you this.
Oh yeah, the table book.
The table, yes. And then I added the book.
Ah, very good. So why did you pick this one up?
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's incredibly cool for such an old game. Because the tricky part about the when it came out question is that it was recently re-released by Z-Man Games. But I didn't remember how recently, but it was in 2009. The game is actually from the 80s, and you can totally feel it because when it was re-released, it was basically left as it was in the 80s. You can feel the spirit of games of that age, like Talisman. Those never-ending games, impossible to end, but so fun to play. And
remind me to say that when I review Alone.
Yeah. One of my colleagues introduced us to it, and it's so cool how you can create incredible and passionating stories. You just feel the need to go on and see what your character will be facing next, and all this through checking tables full of numbers and checking a book full of pages and reading 5 lines of text that give you the story. It's super cool. I really liked it, and I just had to buy it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I have some friends in my game group that have it. I haven't played that game, but I hear they really like it.
Well, you should. To be honest, we never completed a game. Never. Because because winning is not the point. The nice thing about this game is that you just have fun living your story and listening to the other player's story, that you don't feel the need to win.
Yeah.
You just when you're bored, you stop playing, and that's it. At least that's how we play it.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Kabuki Kid says that they always set a time limit for it.
Yes, that's another sensible thing to do, definitely.
Yeah. All right, part 2. This is where we get to see if Alessandro actually has some drawing skills.
Spoilers, I don't.
Okay, in this question, we're going to be asking him what is the game that he is most excited about getting. This could be a game, it could be a brand new game which is on Kickstarter and he's backed it and he's waiting for it to arrive at his door like Dark Souls, or it could be another game that he's not got round to buying, something older or something oldish, maybe 80s vibe that that you just...
He's not old enough for that.
It's just a random thing that just popped on your mind. It's not specifically referring to anything I just said.
No,
not at all.
So he's going to draw an image for us. We'll describe it for you, people that listen to
Random
the
thoughts from Alessandro.
Wait, as I finish.
Oh yeah, we'll keep talking.
His masterpiece of crappiness.
Yeah.
The masterpiece of crappiness.
Yes,
from
because it
Alessandro
will
Pra.
it will definitely be spectacularly crappy.
That's what you should have called the company. Crappy games, not horrible games.
Yeah, I
That
like that better. Crappy games.
When we will move next to another company, if we will ever do that, we will do this.
Okay, so if everyone splits up again.
We get a percentage, kind of like a Dice Tower Essential. Something like that.
Okay, so are you ready?
Yep.
This is easy. Can you see it?
Okay, oh, I know what it is. It looks like a horizon line with a sun, and there's rays going out into the atmosphere, kind of like a sunrise or a really bright sunset.
Or an aurora.
Like an aurora.
You are on the right path.
I have a guess. Barry, do you have a guess?
Well, it's funny that the image is the new logo for a company which I helped find the name for, called Aurora Games. It looks exactly the same, apart from it's in black and white there. But
yeah, of course, but
yeah, I have a guess, and I think it's that one which I got lots of Kickstarter emails for.
Kickstarter.
You remember we talked about it on the last show?
Yeah, we talked a lot about it because it's one of the games I'm most excited about getting as well, that we all have to wait a year to get, right?
Yes.
Con! It's Rising Sun.
It definitely is, yes.
Hey!
So what got you excited about Rising Sun?
Well, it's really, really gorgeous, I think. There's no other way to describe it. The artwork, it's incredible. It's Adrian Smith, but it's a new thing. It's not like what he drew before. I think it's that you can really feel the Japanese style coming out of it. The miniatures are really incredible, but that's a given when you're dealing with Cool Mini or not. And the game looks interesting too. It seems like a Blood Rage 2.0 or something like that.
Yeah, they're calling it the spiritual successor. I found it really interesting that there was a surprisingly large number of people who never watched any of the gameplay video. They bought the game solely on the presentation of the Kickstarter, the artwork, the miniatures, and the pedigree from Eric Lang and Cool Mini or not, versus investigating the game to see if they really wanted to play it. That tells you how successful Cool Mini has been in their branding of a product.
Yes, I did the very same thing, I have to confess. Because it was just so good to watch it, to look at, that I thought I have to add this to my collection. I will probably never have time to play it. I don't care.
I think they were brilliant the way they kept keeping the Kickstarter interesting. I think they maybe had a few too many updates, but it was like there was always something new and exciting during the whole 30 days.
That's true. I think it's true. And I have also to say that we kind of took a bit of inspiration from that, since we are going to Kickstarter soon, and you have to look at what the best are doing when you start from scratch. And we will be trying to create the same kind of I don't know, excitement. How can you call it?
Yeah, excitement.
Well, I've seen. This is. I think we'll talk about this in the Babble topic too. But just off air before we started, we were talking a little bit about the Kickstarter process and what it used to be and what it is now, and how you have to prepare and invest with art assets and all of these different things to do a successful job. But what's really cool is we have a lot of companies who we have some models that we can follow. I've always said you can be successful a couple of ways. You can find somebody who's doing it crappy and do the opposite.
Yes.
Or you can find somebody who's doing a good job and copy them.
Yes. And that's what we are trying to do. No,
Yeah,
but
it's smart.
the one thing you said is interesting, and I was also speaking about it with Barry before, and that's how Kickstarter has changed, especially in for tabletop board games.
Yeah.
Because in spirit, Kickstarter is a tool that people with great ideas but no money can use to gather that money and bring that idea to fruition.
Yeah.
In board games, as also Kevin was saying, it doesn't work like that anymore unless you have a very, very, very breakthrough idea. Players are expecting you to show basically the complete game, so you cannot start a Kickstarter campaign without having already a budget in place to produce artwork, pre-production copies of the miniatures, prototypes, and then you have to spend money for promotion and a lot of stuff and you need to prepare beforehand. I was saying to Mary before that usually we have produced many games before this. It's not our first production, but we still we have had our problems adjusting to it, because usually you start putting production processes in place much nearer to the planned release date of a game. Now we are a year-ish, more or less, from the intended release date of the game, a bit less than that, and we are much more, the production has basically already started. It's very soon for our standard way of working. But you have to do that now in with Kickstarter, or people will just not back you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have someone who has a limited production, just have an idea basically, and they put it out there, people don't have, there's not that credibility, so the trust factor, and then they're not excited about it, and then you have a $5,000 goal or something and you raise $7,000, which is not near enough to accomplish the real goal of producing the game.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you've got to start small, I think. If people are getting into Kickstarter and they want their ideas to be out there, they have to start small and start maybe with a card game and then build up from there and then get a bit of a reputation. And that's the thing now, I think, with Kickstarter, is there are so many companies on there with big reputations that they're just not flooding the Kickstarter market, but they are the go-to places to go to. Whereas someone else, if I was to design a game and put it on Kickstarter, I probably wouldn't get many backers and maybe not even funded unless I started with a small kind of card game or dice game or something very, very simple and inexpensive.
Yes.
Or you had a big company like Horrible Games helping you with the production.
Yeah. Thank you for big company. Definitely. Thank you for that.
It'd be Horrible Games and Crappy Games together.
Yes. When those two will merge, we will be bigger than Asmodee.
Oh yes. To take over the world. Evil genius. Let's move on to part 3.
Okay. So this question is, what is the current game which is, what is, let's start again. Let's drink some Vulcan blood. So the next question is, what is the current favorite game of Alessandro? What is the game that he's dreaming about? The game that he's always playing in his head, even though he hasn't got the pieces out the box yet. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to get 5 one-word clues from Alessandro, and we have to guess after each one what this game is. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because so far your recent release was Tales of Arabian Nights.
Yes.
Your game that you're most excited about getting is Rising Sun.
Well, and it's like, we know he likes a lot of artwork.
There's no there's no resemblance between the two games, so this could be anywhere.
Yes, and yes, I won't say anything more.
Oh, say more. We were just gonna get some good stuff.
Excuse me.
Okay, so I just start with a clue. You don't have to ask me anything before that.
No, you just give us a one-word clue.
Gems.
Gems. Okay.
Gems.
It's not Potion
Ooh.
Explosion because that doesn't use gems.
I was actually going to say Potion Explosion, but it sounded lame from me, so I decided, because I'm playing Potion Explosion all the time, even if it's my game, I just can't get bored of it. Especially the digital version. I don't know if you tried it, but
No, I've heard that's really great.
yes, the developers that did that for us did a really great job, to the point that I know the game. I have written the rules, so I definitely know the game. I should be bored of it, but I constantly play it. But
how can you be bored of it, especially with the expansion coming?
yeah, of course, the expansion we will mention it later, but I don't want to distract you from the current game,
Okay,
so let's get back.
Gems.
Oh no, it's the rabbit trail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gems.
I have a guess,
Go on.
and I'm going to say Cry Havoc.
I was going to say that.
No.
Oh, I get another chance.
Let's give you
Gems.
another chance.
Gems. I'm going to say Conan.
Nope. You're way off track.
Oh,
Ooh, way off track.
okay.
So we were going area control, big epic game, and now maybe it's not that.
Yeah.
Okay, so time for the second clue.
Ooh, I got an idea. Okay, go ahead.
I will say Nobles.
Ah, I was right.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Go on then.
Do you want to guess first? I think I got it.
When you said nobles, I thought of royals. Ka-ching!
No gems there.
There's no gems.
Spoils of War, there's gems.
Yeah. Maybe I'll need to buy Spoils of War and change the cubes for gems.
It's more jewelry than gems, but okay.
But yeah, okay, we get it.
Okay, no, go on then.
Can we say Space Cowboys?
Yes, you can.
Ah, so it is. Everything is splendor.
Yes, you did it quicker than I thought.
Wow!
I was going to say, I don't know, chips next, and that was the definitive clue, I think. But yes, I'm also playing Splendor all the time. That's the other game. That's the other game that's eating my life on my tablet.
What did the chat have to say? I gotta remit. Where is it? Maximize chat.
Kabuki says Diamant.
Kabuki Kid said baseball highlights
As well, yeah.
Robinson Crusoe. And Splendor, she said. Okay, I'm a little behind. Okay.
She got 3 for 3 basically, like we did.
She's so smart.
She's so smart. And where are the rest of you? Come on, Jesse. Come on, Rick. Guess.
I wish we could have Kabuki Kid on the show sometime.
That'd be great. We'll try and guess.
She doesn't like to make appearances, but I think we should try to get her on the show.
Yeah. We love Splendid as well. Splendor as well.
It's a splendid game.
It is. You should call yourself Splendid Games.
It's that great mix of having a little bit of gamery type of thing, but it's that gateway game that you can pull out and teach.
Yes.
It's so accessible. You can play it quick. We just went to, my daughters have a historical costume company. Shameful plug here is Maddie Online, Maddie's Millinery and Costumers. But they went to the National Jane Austen Society show in Washington, D.C. this last year. And my wife and I went with them. And we brought Splendor with. And one of the gals that works for them, they love this game. So I actually gave them my copy of Splendor.
Oh.
Yeah, and then we didn't have it. And I was like, and then I saw somebody doing a trade and I was able to pick it up again. So I have it back in my collection.
Well, it's a very popular game that it's all over. It's everywhere. I bought my copy. We had one in our Horrible Games Ludothek.
Yeah.
I didn't have one personally, and during last Spiel, I could buy one for like €7. €7. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Because there are just so many copies of it moving around that I think it's basically free to reproduce at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I could grab one very cheap, and I had to.
Yeah, a friend of mine at the local gaming store posted this picture on Facebook today. It's of the expansion.
Oh,
yes.
cities?
Oh,
Yeah, I think so. It looks.
Wow.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Hopefully this weekend they've got it in stock, and I will go and get it.
look at that pace.
I love Splendor as well. It's a fantastic game. Fantastically, just a nice mind puzzle where you got to try and outsmart the other players and get to the end, get those 15 points, and
Yes, and it's another game like Potion Explosion where when you get good at it, it becomes a cruel race.
yeah,
You just have to plan a strategy and be quick to reach the points you need to win, because you're going to lose if you don't do that right from the start.
yeah, definitely. Or if you watch someone get lots of potions and then drink them all at the same time, it throws your planning off entirely.
Oh yeah, of course. Potion Explosion has more random going on, of course.
Yeah.
But they are similar for this. That when you're playing with another player that can play the game, you really have to focus and race.
Yeah, definitely. So
Hey, Don. How you doing, buddy?
there we go. That's the 3 questions, and we got them all right, and so did Kabuki.
I lost all of them. I thought I was going to win at least one, namely Tales of the Arabian Nights, but I didn't.
We are the winners.
Oh, that makes a change.
We
You
kind of
are.
cheated a little, though. Little cheated. Hey, Don Lyles has joined the chat. Hey, good to see you, Don.
Oh, we shall move on then. I'm going to say that for a change. Let's move right along into the Babble.
Babble.
There's the graphic. Where's the music? Oh no, everything's gone to sleep here.
Things and mates.
That's not it.
No.
And now it's time for the Babble, 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 Berkey and Badger's board game Babble.
There we go. I found it.
There it is.
All right, I've got to stop. Oh, there's too many buttons to press.
Today, the Babble topic is D&D the comeback. Is D&D your daddy?
Ooh.
We're going to talk about dungeon crawls. Barry, lead us off.
Yes, as we've heard, Alone is a brand new dungeon crawl which is coming to Kickstarter from the 4th of May, 5th of May?
No, May 2nd.
May 2nd. Oh,
Yes.
also.
All,
Let's rewind. As we've heard, Alessandro has been telling us about Alone, which is a Kickstarter coming up from at the 2nd of May. As we've just heard, Alessandro has been talking about Alone, which is their next game from Horrible Games, which is coming to Kickstarter on the 2nd of May. And it's a dungeon crawl game where one hero goes against lots of nasty dungeon lord people. And we want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and dungeon crawling games. What are they like? Why are they so good? Why do I love them? I love them. I do. Are they making a big comeback? Because I think they are. I've seen on Kickstarter over the past couple of years a lot of games come out which are dungeon crawl styles games. There's Vampire Hunters, there's Deep Madness, there's Seven Sins. Is that the Eric Lang one?
The others.
The others, sorry.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that's the
the
one.
others.
Yeah. And it seems like Kickstarter is a great platform for getting minis made, because that's what Kickstarter's for. It's for minis, isn't it?
Yeah, basically for tabletop games, yes.
Yes. And are we seeing a resurgence of dungeon crawling games coming? And is Dungeons and Dragons the heart of it all?
Is this a dungeon crawl game?
No, it's not. But the miniature is really great, I have to say. I didn't say before. And
Is
I
this
also
a dungeon
have...
crawl game?
Possibly.
It could be.
I don't know. Could be. Yeah, well.
Yeah, it could be a troll from Hero Quest.
And I have an heartbreaking confession to do.
Oh, go on.
Yes. Right off the bat.
I never played Dungeons and Dragons. No,
Oh.
actually, I did, but it's not. I didn't play it that much. I was into other role-playing games when I was a young, reckless kid,
Yeah.
namely Vampire the Masquerade, and I know all of it, of course, but I don't know. There's friends of mine, and Lorenzo is another one that can still tell you they still remember the skills of all of the classes, and I always have to say, yeah, I know, yes, of course. I actually don't, because I know the classes, I know lawful good, that kind of stuff, but I've never played it that much, but I like it. I like games based on it. For example, Rock Paper Scissors, not a dungeon crawler at all, but do you know it? Rock Paper Wizard. Sorry.
Wizard. That was the one.
And Rock Paper Lizard Spock.
No, but yes. No, it's a game from WizKids that is based on the Rock Paper Scissors game, but they put D&D license on it. But it, against all odds, it works.
Okay, not really a dungeon crawl. It's a point.
No, not sorry. I derailed your derailing show.
That's right. That's right.
So let's get back to dungeon crawlers. Sorry.
No, I like the way you derailed it, because I have to make a confession.
Okay.
I've not been a big Dungeons and Dragons player or a dungeon crawl player even.
Dun, dun, dun.
So what does that mean? That means I'm unqualified for this conversation, kind of.
No. Because the first question is, what is the draw to this genre? And for me, it's the exploring in a game like this and the leveling up, which I think are the main aspects of a Dungeons and Dragons role-playing adventure. You create a character and you get invested in that character because, oh, you found this gold, and oh, you found this shield, which makes you tougher, and oh, what's this round the corner? I don't know. It's a big monster. And that for me has always been the draw of playing Hero Quest, for example, when in my younger days. And obviously that's been the draw for me back into board gaming around the time that, Carcassonne and Ticket to Ride started to come around. And it was like, yeah, I want more games like Hero Quest, and there weren't any. But now there are lots, and yes. I am happy. I am very happy because I can start getting these games and just looking at the minis and not being able to play them.
Let me ask you a question. If we're going to start with this topic of dungeon crawl, can we define what that means? Does that mean it has to be done in a dungeon? Does that mean it has to be fantasy?
No. Again, it doesn't have to be. I've got a list up on Board Game Geek of games which fit that category. So, for example, Betrayal on House on the Hill is not fantasy, but it's fantastic, isn't it? Really, and it's not a dungeon; it's a house. You also have. I'm sure you've played Super Dungeon Explorer, Kevin. No, you muted your mic.
I didn't either. Didn't play it, I mean.
No.
I had to cough, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Zombie Side, I would class as a dungeon crawl because you're exploring a map and you're fighting monsters and you're leveling up and becoming... So that for me is dungeon crawling, so to speak.
Dead of Winter?
Dead of Winter...
More cooperative, less, but you're exploring in a sense. I mean, you're more going places. But what about 4X type games then that are set in a space theme?
You've thrown me a curveball. That's it. Live show. There you go. I'm stumped. A 4X game possibly could fit into a dungeon crawl game because something like Zaya, where you have a ship and you're exploring sectors. And you're also buying stuff to upgrade your spaceship so you've got more carrying capacity. I mean, for me, that's the same kind of thrill for me, I think. And I would class that as a kind of a dungeon crawling game, even though it's not in a dungeon, it's in space.
How about like games like Lords of Zidit?
Lords of Zidit. I wouldn't call that a dungeon crawling game because everything is there and you're not really
More program movement.
Yeah, because you're
It's
working out where you're going to
fantasy.
pick up people, aren't you, and add them to your team so you can buy resources and fight monsters.
It's more resource management. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Alejandro? What do you think the definition of our topic, dungeon crawl, is?
Well, I agree with Barry that exploration is absolutely required, let's say. But the fantasy theme, on the other hand, it's not, I think. Because, for example, Mansions of Madness, I think that is a dungeon crawler, 100%. And you can call it fantasy because Lovecraft is not science fiction either, but it's more horror than fantasy. Not especially when you say fantasy, people usually think of D&D, not I don't know, Harry Potter, which still is fantasy, but it's not what you think when you say fantasy dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
So I think the only real requisite for a game to be called dungeon crawler is that you explore an unknown environment. I think that is the only thing that is absolutely needed. Everything else is optional, for me, at least.
Kabuki Kid is saying that you need to have a role. So being in a role-playing game, you have to have a role that you are leveling up. Would you say that's the requirement?
Yeah, I would say a role, yes. Sorry, Barry, for interrupting.
Yeah. I would say exactly.
But
they're very thematic.
The theme is another requisite, yes.
Yes.
A role to play, I think, is a requisite too, but I don't think you have to level up.
No. Look at Mice and Mystics. Mice and Mystics, you're collecting things, but you're not leveling up.
Exactly.
Okay, good point. Yep, good point. All right, well, let's move on then. So tell us a little bit. I think that's an important distinction, though, is, we're playing dungeon crawl games, but there's so many different games out there that have a dungeon theme, but I don't know if it would be, Dungeon Pets. That's not really a dungeon crawl.
No. That's a resource management. That's a Euro game.
Yeah.
Buying and selling, trading, and yeah.
Cutthroat Caverns.
Cutthroat Caverns, I haven't played.
That's
kind
of
the treasure one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a take that smirk and dagger game. You're going in and you got to get out.
Just because it's got dungeon in the title doesn't mean that it's a dungeon game. So Dungeon Run's got dungeon and that is a dungeon crawl. Thunderstone is another kind of dungeon crawl game, but it's done with cards. There's no actual physical dungeon. The dungeon is there and you're going in to the dungeon with your characters and you're just playing cards. Munchkin is the perfect example of a dungeon crawl, but it's done on such a kind of extreme, not real level. You're just turning over a card and seeing what you get. Again, very take that, but
I wouldn't call Munchkin a dungeon crawler personally, because you don't explore an environment, actually. Not really. I mean,
no, not technically. You're exploring a dungeon because you're turning over a card and kicking down.
Of course. But not to mention another one on our games again. I didn't want to do that, but the topic forces me. Dungeon Fighter can also be considered a dungeon crawler in a sense, but I wouldn't. Because there is a party token that you move in a dungeon. So there is a dungeon and you move through it. But it's not really exploration, and the game is completely stupid. So dungeon crawlers tend to be more serious, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting topic, I have to say. It's tricky to define because...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I want to say that a game can check a lot of things that you usually associate to a dungeon crawler and not be a dungeon crawler. And that's strange if you think of it.
Yeah, but I think that's the way that our hobby is. There's a lot of games which tick Euro boxes, but they're not really Euro games. Like Dungeon Pets, for example.
For example.
Mechanically, it's a Euro game. You're putting something here to get something there. But the theme just engrosses you so much that you forget that it's a Euro game and you're just really in the scene. And when you get to describe it, it's like, well, what type of game is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think if you were, you've got a question on here, Barry, that says, what about all the minis? You think miniatures is a, you know, we've just had the success of Gloomhaven, for instance. Isaac Childress. I mean, I got to play Spoils of War with Isaac at BGG Con, and what a great guy. This guy he's brilliant. The guy's amazing, but he's just a really fun guy. But you take a look at all of the things that have gone into the Gloomhaven production. I don't have it, but I've seen it played. The miniatures in this thing are amazing, and even some of the constructs of the game. Do you think that's a key factor to dungeon crawl game?
It seems to be, but as I said, you know, there are games like Thunderstone, which is dungeon crawl, and it's cards. Also, Pathfinder, the card game, is a kind of dungeon crawl. You're exploring, leveling up, and that's cards. There's no real need for a miniature in that game. But primarily, yes, minis are an essential part, and especially on Kickstarter, they're an essential part. Would Alone be any good without minis? Would Matches of Madness be any good without minis? Would it, if Matches of Madness came with standees like in Arkham Horror, would it have that same appeal?
Yeah, you know, Alessandro, why don't give us your perspective, and don't be ashamed to talk about your Kickstarter.
Okay.
I've looked at the production of Alone. This thing is amazing. I mean,
Thank you.
It's fantastic. When I looked at it, I thought this is going to be a big play in the market. It's really beautifully presented, but tell us how you feel this plays into our topic and all of that.
Well, it is definitely a dungeon crawler, I think, because it has that kind of exploration feeling for the hero, at least. Because for the evil players, there's no exploration at all, but that can also be said of all dungeon masters in dungeon crawlers. The strange thing of our game is that the exploring player is only one, but it definitely has the exploration going, so I consider it a dungeon crawler. And as you said, miniatures have a very deep impact on the chances of success and the appeal of a dungeon crawler game. You could do without them. We had there's been people discussing online saying that they would prefer games to cost less and use cardboard figures.
No, those people are wrong.
Yeah. I think it's debatable because I on a personal level I agree, because the eye, I don't know if there is the same proverb in English that there is in Italy. In Italy we say the eye wants is share. You need to satisfy the eye in addition to satisfy the taste. So even if it is a dungeon crawler game, the great components that please the eye add to it. They don't. They are not needed, but they definitely add to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why our topic about Kickstarter is so critical. When people see the artwork, I mean, whole games have been sold just based on what you're saying, Alessandro. The artwork. You take a look at Scythe. I mean, it has some miniatures in it, and they're great miniatures. But I mean, it's the artwork, and they had all those really cool components from Stonemaier games as well. Those are fantastic. But that artwork, and then you take Cool Mini or Not, Rising Sun. You look at those miniatures, or the game The Others. What about Kingdom Death Monster?
Oh, yeah, that was the other one.
Yes, and it's true. And I think that in this kind of things, Kickstarter is doing a good service to the board gaming community as a whole. Because for decades, we have been used to have, I know I'm going to make enemies around the world now, but we will
let them know what you're going to tell them.
Yes, we have had great games like Concordia for me,
Yes.
It's
Love
a
it.
really great game, but with unexciting artwork, let's say.
Yes. I'd agree.
And the Euro game genre is particularly affected by this. Kickstarter, for all the things we have just said, it's making the general level of the artworks, the kind of attention that the publisher put into this aspect, it's improving a lot. You see a lot more games with nice artwork, good to look at, nice colors, or interesting artistic directions that go in unexpected ways, and this was not the case just a few years back. And I think Kickstarter is one of, not the only one, but one of the reasons because this is happening. Why this is happening?
The bar is definitely being raised.
Yes.
And whether we like it or not, you know, I understand budget conscious thought. I do get that. But for me, I'd rather buy less games and have them really tricked out.
Yes, I agree. But there is also to say that with a smart art direction, you can also have games with good artwork that it's not expensive. Look, let's say, what's the name of the game? I don't remember. But no, it's not Concept, but it's that game with transparent cards.
Mystic Veil.
Oh, Imagine.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
I don't think that artwork costed a lot of money because it's very simple. They maybe spent a lot on research and development, let's say. So they had to study. It was not easy at all to make that game. But I'm not sure. I cannot put my hand on the fire, if that's a proverb in English. I don't know. I cannot say this for sure. This means.
And then we say, ouch.
Yes. It's a proverb that says, if you put your hand on fire, you say, I'm so sure that I am right that I am not afraid to put my hand on there.
Okay.
What I wanted to say is that I am not sure that what I'm saying is correct, but I don't think that the artwork of that game costed that much in money.
No.
It was just the result of a very smart and careful art direction, which is very effective. And with this ramble, I just wanted to say that better artwork doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend a lot of money for it.
That's true.
But as you said, the bar has been raised, and I think this is good for everybody because having good games that also look good is the best thing that you can desire from a game.
Don Lyles made the comment that because eye appeal is half the meal, and it applies to games as well. I used to cook professionally, and in preparing a meal, half of it is about your presentation. I think that's the English equivalent of what the proverb I was mentioning before, because this meaning is exactly the same. And yes, I agree. And he goes on and he says that an ugly game is hard to sell. And I think that's equally as true. You get something that looks like crap on your plate, you don't want to eat it.
Yeah. Even if it tasted lovely, but you wouldn't know because you didn't want to try. You wouldn't want to try.
You wait for the 5th or 6th edition to come out and then you'll try it.
Yeah.
It's all about garnishing the game, isn't it? We're going to garnish the game with all these little miniatures. And
yes, in necessities, for example, and I'm going to mention one of our games again. Sorry for that. Would Razor Goblets have that appeal it has without the actual plastic goblets?
Exactly.
This is also true for components recently, and not only miniatures. 10 years ago, we would have been able to make Razor Goblets with, I don't know, bags or tokens or whatever to hide the stuff, and nobody would have complained. Now, you cannot do that anymore. And I think that is a good thing. Yes, and King Meeples is another example.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, you know, again, I'm go back to Andor, Legends of Andor. That's a kind of dungeon crawl because you're exploring, and no, it's not really a dungeon crawl at all. But that doesn't have minis, but it's the standees do work really well because one, you don't have to paint them and they look colorful.
Yes.
You know, in a dungeon crawling game, you know, I wouldn't mind if it had minis or if it had standees, as long as I had a representation of myself and it was there and a representation of the monsters, it wouldn't matter to me. So if it was half the price, bonus as well.
Yeah, that's what people was discussing online. That's what I was mentioning before.
Oh,
But Hero Quest had stands with cardboard stands, if I'm not wrong. Am I wrong? I don't remember.
Wrong. You're wrong.
I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong.
You have HeroClix miniatures, right?
No, Hero Quest had real minis. They even had the standee doors as well. So you had doors closed and doors open. They'd be standees, and they had the furniture and oh.
I kind of think that in Italy we probably had a cheap version of it with cardboard everything.
Was it?
No, I think so, because there were quite big publishers in Italy in the 80s.
Yeah.
That were releasing what we didn't know were reworked version. They took the license for a game, but then they produced it trying to make it cheaper. So we know games, and we thought that they were like that in all the world, and we didn't know they were not. And we were just given the short end of the stick. But the games were good. So in a way, it kind of connects again with what we were saying before. If the game is good and you don't know what your eye is missing, you will enjoy the game. Never, whatever.
Yeah, it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons. You don't see anything. It's all in game.
Yes, it's all in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, 10 years ago, though, and 15 years ago, production capabilities weren't what we have today because of the popularity of this type of thing. Now, there are more production capabilities. They're even backlogged, you know, and so new factories are being opened to produce more of these components to keep up with demand. And so because of that, all of a sudden, what was acceptable 10 years ago, it's really not acceptable anymore.
Yes,
to a lot of folks.
And this is a good sign, I think, again, because this means that our niche of the market is expanding. There are more gamers, and heavier, let's say, games are more popular than they were. So there is more business opportunities for a lot of people, from game creators to game producers, and also more games to choose for the players. So as long as the market doesn't become saturated, I think.
I think one thing that might be noted to say about this topic, I think it ties together. We're talking about miniatures and dungeon crawl, but just miniatures in general has become a big thing in our hobby, because there's a whole nother sub hobby that maybe has been around for a long time, but is gaining popularity. And that's the painting of the miniatures.
Yes.
I mean,
I'd say that's not a thing that's gaining. I mean, Games Workshop have been producing minis for donkeys, and I've known loads of people that paint minis, and I still know loads of people that paint minis. It's just that nowadays you can get it in board games.
But we're starting to see a big uptick in sales of painting hobby things, which is indicative of more people doing it. You know, Rob Oren is one of my all-time favorite people in board gaming. He has a YouTube channel called Oren Gaming, I think it's called. Rob is just a gem of a guy, and he does painting miniatures on the Dice Tower Board Game Breakfast, and he does battling brushes with Sam Healy. And so you're seeing, when they first did Throat Punch Lunch, say that real fast 3 times. When they first did that, they had like 6 different people on there teaching miniature painting. And now you're seeing people that are professionally, you know, starting businesses to paint these miniatures. Because, you know, we just recently, I'll try to finish up real quick here, but we just played the game Masmora, and my good friend Rick Ortloff, he's a good friend of, he's a cousin actually of Jesse Shaky, who's here. He painted all of his Masmora figures. They were amazing. Yeah, Kabuki Kid says Rob Oren's channel is just called Robert Oren. But he teaches this painting. Well, Rick subscribes to that. He painted all of these Masmorra, which is a dungeon crawling game we played. It was amazing, and the enjoyment of playing that game with a painted miniature versus a grayscale miniature, it just takes it a whole nother level for me anyway.
Oh, of course it does.
It does. It also adds, I mean, when you, switching from the producer perspective for a moment, you have to keep that into account, because it's true that people love to do that. When you have games where there are two factions that have to be clearly distinguishable, so what you do, you make one faction red and one blue, let's say. If you paint the miniatures, it becomes so much better from an aesthetics point of view, but it can become confusing. And I think this is why, for example, Cool Mini or Not started to put those plastic rings that you attach
the dials
to the bottom, the dials, yes. This way you can distinguish the miniatures, the side on which for which the miniatures are playing, even if they are painted. I think that it also adds another level of complexity to the production when you plan it.
Definitely. It's a lot more work for you guys as well, isn't it? To think about it. It's like, okay, should we have them on or not? Do we need them? Do we need to distinguish this hero from these monsters? No. That's a monster. That's a monster. That's a hero.
Yes.
Yeah, Rick Ortloff, the one who painted Masmorra's on the chat, he just said, I usually use paint schemes that match the original colors to help with that. So taking some of your art study from the actual artwork of the cards and so forth to create the characters. So it becomes that much more immersive, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But for example, if you, I don't think you would think of that when you create the artwork for a miniature, because when you make the artwork, you want the artwork to look good. You're not necessarily thinking that, oh, this character is going to play for that side, so we need to keep the color scheme similar to the other players of that faction, because if the people then paint it, I mean, it's an interesting and complex challenge for a painter. I think.
That's true. Should we move on to close this up with our top 3 dungeon crawling games, or is there anything else you want to discuss, Barry?
Yeah, I was going to briefly brush on any non-conventional dungeon crawling games. I mean, non-conventional as in the words of Thunderstone is a deck builder dungeon crawling game. You're building a deck of cards to go into a dungeon and fight monsters, and hopefully level up your character to get more the Thunderstone gems, so you can buy extra stuff. And
do you have all the Thunderstorm stuff, Eric?
I have some. I
did a math trade at BGG last year, and I traded away an inexpensive game, and I got like 7 or 8 boxes of Thunderstorm Advance. It cost me $38 to ship it home because I couldn't bring it home in my luggage. It's how much stuff I got. And I'm like, how in the world am I going to go through this stuff?
And the great thing about it is you can play it solo. You just go shuffle these cards. I'll pick up this one, shuffle this card. And I mean, that for me is an unconventional dungeon crawl, because it is dungeon crawling, but there's no figures, there's no map. You're just going into the dungeon. You decide which level of monster you're going to fight. How much darkness they're in will determine how much stronger they are. They will have different effects. They affect off each other. So if there's like one of this monster already out, you double the attack of it, or it does other things. It's a wonderfully interesting way of doing dungeon crawling, but as I said, with cards, as is Dungeon Fighter. You're fighting monsters in a dungeon, and obviously you're marking the levels, but you're doing it with dice. You're throwing dice onto the target to see how well you hit them.
Yes, you can tell that.
And then there's another one where you're flicking. I can't think what it's called.
I know it.
Catacombs.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And again, it's a kind of dungeon crawling game where you're a hero and you got your token and you got to flick the monsters to attack them. I haven't played it, but it just seems really interesting kind of take on what a dungeon crawl is.
Well, you can always make interesting stuff, as I said in the beginning, where you can always decide to make a game in one established canon and then twist it in some interesting way. I think that is what makes our job interesting.
Yeah, I can
Because
imagine.
you can do just yet another dungeon crawler game, fantasy theme with lots of heroes, one dungeon master, monsters to fight, level up, and that kind of stuff. But why?
Yeah.
We should have a game from the Lord of the Rings that's about exploring the mines of Moria.
It kind of surprises me that nobody did it yet. I would play that, I think.
Yeah, they've got a cave troll.
I saw one. Let me have a look. Bear with me a second. I saw a Lord of the Rings game.
Don says, "Take my money now." Because you could have all these different kind of goblins and all these different things going on, and going into a different room to protect yourself, and then trying to get through it, trying to get across the bridge, and then the
You shall not pass.
Exactly. That would be cool.
No, I can't find
Well,
it.
that kind of speaks to the theme, doesn't it? Different dungeon crawls. We've talked about Dungeons and Dragons, which is a very popular genre theme of dungeon crawl. But there's a lot of other ones. What's that one? It's
Mice and Mystics, which is a dungeon crawl, and that's mice and spiders and cockroaches, which is not your typical.
I'm thinking of another one. It begins with an M. The guy has a top hat, and it's kind of this a little bit dystopian type of not Masmora, but I lost it.
No, Shadows of a Brimstone.
No, it's kind of got an old west that Malifaux.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, Malifaux. That's right. Thanks, Don. Well, let's go to our top three. Shall we do that?
Okay.
We're going to go through our top three dungeon crawls. And we'll start with Barry. We'll give us his third, then to Alessandro, and then myself.
Okay, my number three is, well, I've mentioned it many times, it's Thunderstone. I love deck building games, and when I heard about Thunderstone coming out, I thought, that sounds like a nice idea. And the great thing is you can play it on your own, and which is what I've primarily been doing. And the amount of expansions that you can buy, which give you other monsters to fight, which give you other weapons that you can upgrade to, which give you other different types of heroes. Again, they can all be leveled up, is really, really, really fun. As I said, I've only played it solo. I haven't played it with other people because I have it in English and everyone here is not English. So that's one of the drawbacks that I have with it. But it is one of those really, really interesting, nice kind of card games which take a bit of a while to set up. But that's my number three. Thunderstone.
Can you play that? Could we play that online anywhere?
Possibly.
We should figure this out.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
We'll do that.
So, Alessandro.
Okay. I think at number three, I will say Descent or Descent. 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 Because it's one of those games that you can really get overpowered, and sometimes it's nice to play like that. I remember particularly a game I played with Lorenzo and another of our friends years back, and in the beginning it was crushing us mercilessly. Suddenly we became so strong that he could not even touch us. And this usually is associated with bad game design, but we had so much fun that I still remember that game fondness.
Well.
Yeah, fondness, with fondness. So I say Descent, even if I don't think it's super good as a game, given what's come next to it, after it, but still.
You have to buy like 1,000 lieutenant packs and expansions for it, right?
I only played the base game, so I don't know any of the rest. But
okay, is this the first edition or second edition?
Two difficult questions. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been years.
Okay,
I don't remember anymore.
No, it's probably the first edition then.
Probably yes.
Big box.
Yeah, very big box. Yes.
Yeah, first edition.
All right. My number 3 is going to be one that we've mentioned, and it's Mice and Mystics.
Ooh.
I have a friend in our game group, Mitch, who has this, and he's got all the miniatures painted. I first played this at the Fantasy Flight Game Center, and we just had a lot of fun. And I'm generally not a big co-op gameplay guy, but I really liked it. And I love the little storytelling. It's kind of cute. Just the way you're fighting off the spider and the centipede, and these different little these princes. Now you've become miniaturized as these mice, and you've got your little characters. I thought it was pretty cool, and we've played several games of it now, and really like it. So that's my number 3.
My number 2 is, as Alessandro has said, Descent, but I'm talking about the second edition, which you can play solo with your tablet.
Solo, don't you want to play solo?
Yes. I have. Yes, I've been playing quite a bit of Descent recently, but I think that spot will be taken over with Imperial Assault, which is the same system, which is, again, dungeon crawl. That's one thing we didn't mention is Imperial Assault.
I want to play it. I didn't play it yet, but I definitely want.
Yeah, so I've still got mine on my shelf, and I haven't played it because I bought Descent in French, so I can play it with French people, and I have been, and I've been playing it solo with the tablet. But I bought Imperial Assault in English, and it's sat there still. But later this year, there will be the same app, which is you can use for Descent for Imperial Assault. So I'm looking forward to playing that, and that will probably replace Descent in the future. For some reason, I don't like Star Wars, but I want to play Imperial Assault.
I need to go away. Sorry, I can.
You don't know the power of the dark side, Barry.
You said you were going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy tonight.
Yeah.
Traitor.
You can have these feelings about Star Wars, but please don't communicate them.
Okay.
It's not okay.
You're supposed to do that hand gesture as well.
You enjoy. These are the droids you're looking for. You do like Star Wars.
These are the board games you're buying alone. You are buying alone. Okay, Alessandro, your number 2.
My number 2 is Mice and Mystics. I think we share a lot of tastes, but yes, that Mice and Mystics has a lot of charm, as Kevin was saying. It's the number 1 reason why I love it. Nice storytelling and a lot of charm, and I don't know, it's charming. I'm out of words because I'm very tired. Sorry, people.
No, but that's a great description, because you read the flavor text even on the roll cards. Everybody has this really immersive character. The story backdrop is just neat, and then you're opening and unfolding a new story every time you move up.
Yes, it's true.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I agree. Well, my number 2, Barry just mentioned, and of course, it's Imperial Assault. That's why I didn't mention it before, but I had a hard time with this, just trying to discern. I probably have other games here that would qualify as dungeon crawls that I might like better, but I was thinking, no, it had to be specifically I'm glad we had the discussion because it makes you think about it. But I love Star Wars, of course. Star Wars is awesome. My son started painting the miniatures of his Imperial Assault, and we started going through some of the scenarios. And I mean, how do you get any better than going there and shooting Darth Vader or shooting Luke Skywalker? You know, it's the best. You've got this role, you've got these characters, and it's a genre that I'm more well versed in, so it just adds a lot to it. I think it's great. Imperial Assault, number 2.
Okay, my number 1.
Number one.
Number one. Can you guess? No. It is.
I bet I know what it is.
It used to be. It would have been.
I'm gonna say. Can I guess?
Go on then.
Defenders of the Realm.
No. That's not really dungeon crawling. It's fantasy universe.
Mansions of Madness.
Yes. 2. Yes, it is. Yes, it would have been Arkham Horror, but Mansions of Madness has just slid it out. It's the same theme, but it has this app again. I don't know. That's it. Dungeon crawlers now have to have an app. Does Alone have an app?
No. So we are doomed.
You are doomed.
Alessandro, have you heard all of the amazing music that Barry's doing?
Yes, I've been, because I like. Yes.
You like it. You like his music.
It's a very good musician.
It's a good music. You should get a soundtrack for your games from Barry Doublet.
Thank you. Where should I put my head? I'll put it between my head.
His ears are turning red, and we can't even see them over the microphone.
So, Mansions of Madness. Yes, it is a dungeon crawl because you're exploring the world of Arkham, and you're fighting monsters, and you're fighting other things like fears. You're not really leveling up, but you're getting more and more equipment, and that's the only drawback leveling up wise. Arkham Horror does that slightly better. You can level up your character by getting lots of really cool weapons, whereas in Mansions of Madness there's a few weapons around which just help you through. But in presentation, in the storytelling, Mansions of Madness just does it for me. That's my number 1 role playing dungeon crawling game.
Alessandro, what is your number 1?
I will give you 2 answers.
Ooh.
Yes, and what?
A split rating.
Yes, but it's lamer than what you think. Because my number 1 is for me to. Yes. Barry understood what I was going to do. Yes. So I will say that number 1, of course, it's Alone, because it's the best dungeon crawler ever. You will never need to play another dungeon crawler again after you play Alone. I'm joking, of course. No, yeah. From a personal level, I also have to say I think Mansions of Madness is my number 1 too, even if I still have to play the 2nd edition. I only played the 1st edition, where you have to spend like 6 days to set up. But even with that huge drawback, I think it's a great game. The best dungeon crawler I have played before Alone.
Okay.
Wow. Well, I'm surprised neither of you, well, not so surprised given the location in the world that you guys are. But my number 1 dungeon crawling game that combines deck building elements comes from Renegade Game Studios. It's called Clank.
I never played it, I confess.
Yeah, it hasn't arrived here yet, mate.
Well, Clank is, it has deck building elements that you're going down and you're delving into this dungeon. You're trying to grab treasures, but there's a push your luck aspect to it as well. And the thing that happens with the push the luck is you're going down and you can grab one item and get out. If you get out first, you're going to get points. If you don't get out right away, everybody has to get above ground, above the dungeon to even stay in the game and collect the points they've acquired. And you get this bonus if you actually get all the way out. So you have this push your luck. Should I go down and grab the backpack so I can get one more item that will help me with my total score? But I might not make it out, and there's dangers. There's all these kind of situations, and your cards are giving you the movement. But then you're taking that deck building where you're acquiring new things from the deck that's exposed up front, and new monsters are coming out. And then the clank, whenever you're going down into the dungeon, you make noise and it stirs up the dragon, and all of these cubes that are your hit points, basically, or your wounds, they go into this big bag. And when the dragon is aroused, you pull out these things and you're hoping it's not your color cube. and I got to get out of here. Oh no, not red, not red. I'm always red.
Oh dear. You sly dog, you.
Do you play red?
No. You pulled that one out of the woodwork. Clank. Well, it wasn't out of the woodwork,
Clank?
but out the thin air. Yes. I don't think Clank's arrived in Europe yet. So
No,
I think that's the problem. Clank is huge over here in the States. I mean, it's getting incredible rave reviews, and they just came out with the Sunken Treasures expansion, which adds more dimension and variability. It's fantastic. It's one of my top 10 games right now.
wow. And you said you don't like dungeon crawls.
I sure like this one. I think more the fact that I've never said that I don't like dungeon crawls. I said that I haven't played a lot of dungeon crawls.
Yes, but I think you will over time because, as I said, there are more and more cropping up on Kickstarter all the time now.
or
Yeah.
soon.
Or soon.
Yeah, if you guys can get a copy of Clank somehow, I'd highly recommend it. It's fantastic.
Okay. One thing you forgot to do, Kevin, is an Arcane Wonders sponsor break.
Well, we have. I didn't forget it because we have a really awesome produced advertisement for our special sponsor, Arcane Wonders, that you're going to hear on our audio podcast on iTunes. But just this weekend, we actually just filmed the new game from Arcane Wonders, Spoils of War. And Spoils of War, I have to say, it's a very fun. You can see the game art here. Hopefully that comes off okay. Basically, you're Vikings who have pillaged the village, and now you are all playing a game of chance to decide who gets the different spoils of war. And it's basic set collection and liar's dice on steroids. You're betting and bluffing how many dice are on the table. And then you've got these artifacts that are down that also break the rules of the game. And you're trying to collect these sets to get points. And everybody is interactive, and it plays over 9 rounds. We played this at the Gamma Trade Show. I was in my big Viking costume, and people just had a blast doing this. And you can actually combine 2 of these games to actually get 10 players playing. And we did that on Wednesday night. We played from 8 to 10 players almost for 5 hours. And this table was the buzz of the convention. And seriously, there was so much fun. Sam Healy from the Dice Tower played it, and he just recently was on episode 500 talking about Spoils of War and how he thought this was one of the best games of the Gamma Trade Show.
Wow.
I'm just saying, this is a lot of fun. And we just filmed the Spoils of War video for Board Game Theater, and you'll probably be seeing it in the next 2 to 3 weeks at a Board Game Theater near you. There you go. But many thanks to Arcane Wonders and their new hit game, Spoils of War, as well as their Dice Tower Essential games, Sheriff of Nottingham, Royals, Onitama, the wonderful abstract game, and Speechless, the party game from Arcane Wonders. And of course, you can get Mage Wars. So many thanks to Arcane Wonders, our generous sponsor of the show.
Cool. So all that remains for us to do is to thank our special guest, Alessandro Pra.
I like the French accent.
Alessandro Pra.
Désolé, c'est sorti tout seul. C'est dingue. Fâché. Where can people find you, Alexandre? Oh, horrible games.
Well, you mean physically or on the web?
Everywhere. Well, yeah, we want details. We want to come and stay and visit.
Well, you can find us in Milan if you dare to visit our office, but of course you can find us on horrible trade games.com. I don't know, the dash, M dash, how do you call that?
Underscore.
No, not the underscore, the
slash.
Oh, on Twitter it's underscore.
Okay, whatever.
At Horrible Games.
Oh, yes,
underscore.
on Twitter. Yes, on Twitter it's underscore. Yes,
Yeah.
you are right.
Okay,
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
the website is as the middle score, or upper score. I don't know how to call that. Dash. And you can find on Facebook on Horrible Games without anything between the two words. We want to confuse you, and we are succeeding.
So underscore for Twitter, the slash for the web,
the website,
and then Facebook. Nothing.
Try to remember that.
Yes.
Well, if you search Horrible Games, you will find us, and we will be very happy to see people interested in our games. And I also wanted to thank you for having me as a guest, because I had a lot of fun.
Good. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget to check out Alone when it comes up on Kickstarter on the 2nd of May.
You won't regret that.
Yeah.
How long does the Kickstarter run, by the way, Alessandro?
It's something like 3 weeks. I don't remember exactly. 3 weeks.
Is there anything special you want to talk about with that Kickstarter to give us notice?
Well, you can check our website or our whatever, actually, and we have shared a series of articles that it's called Discovering Alone, where we discuss gameplay, artwork, miniature making, story, biology of the aliens, a lot of interesting stuff if you're interested into that kind of things. I can tell you that we will have some Kickstarter exclusive in our campaign, so you may also want to check that. And we will also have a super secret, but not for long, thing that we will be revealing, an extra super exclusive thing that will be limited in numbers, so only a few people will be able to pledge that. And you will know about it soon, so follow us on our social media and you will discover what it is.
What is going to be your US distribution of Alone?
We don't have a firm agreement yet, but I can say that it will be Cormini or not, as most of our recent games, if not all of them.
I'm going to the Cool Mini or Not Expo here in May. And so I'll be down in Atlanta. Are you going to have any prototypes or anything there for that?
I don't think so, because it's too early for us to be. Close. We only have one prototype, and we need it, so we cannot send it around. But soon, we plan to be producing more prototypes to send around soon.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. Well, Alessandro, it's been a pleasure getting to meet you. Thank you so much for all your wisdom and antidotes, and you've been a delight. So this has been great.
Thank you.
And
we wish you all the best of success too on your Kickstarter. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I just went to your website. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. We just remade it, so many thanks. It's a brand new website for a new adventure on Kickstarter, and we are happy to hear that you like it.
That's all that matters.
Yes, we just needed to satisfy one person in the world, and that was Kevin.
Yes, the sheriff is satisfied. It can pass through into Nottingham.
I am the winner.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And as you know, in a week or so, well, in a week, this will be edited into an audio podcast. You can take it with you everywhere on the newly named, what's it called? Apple Podcasts. It's not iTunes anymore. It's Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts, and you can check us out. You can also go to our podcast garden where we currently are hosting the sites, but you can go to boardgametheater.com and see all of our past archived episodes, as well as Barry just put up a brand new site, boardgameseverybodyshould.com, and it's a fantastic site for Berkey and Badger as well. check us out on Facebook at Berkey and Badger or Twitter at Berkey and Badger. You can also check us out on our Board Game Guild 2248. So again, special thanks to Arcane Wonders, our sponsor, Alessandro Pra from Horrible Games. And with that, Barry, you can send us out.
Yay!
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye!
We're so glad we had this time together. And now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.